I'm back with Charlie Lane, who just read From Naughty for Sir Nicholas, which that was such a delightful scene. One of the reasons I reached out to you specifically to come talk about holiday romances with me is I feel that every time I've checked in with you for the last year or so, you've been writing a holiday romance. One of which is for a collaboration we're going to be putting out in 2026, but still, I feel like you have become a holiday romance expert. So, like,
Maybe without realizing.
so I think my first question is, why do you think historical romance readers also love holiday romances so much?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that there are a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is because there tend to be novellas. They tend to be these short little nuggets that I don't think we have a lot of in historical romance, which tends to be a little bit longer than other romance genres. And so to have this time of the year that is stressful and everyone's running around doing all sorts of things that they're not doing the rest of the year. It's nice to have these little nuggets of warm coziness that you can sink into and you don't have to like invest a lot of time into. So I think that the general length of them being shorter is one of the reasons they're so popular. Another reason is I think like the nostalgia of being somehow a nicer time of year where we connect with what it means to be human or connect with our family or our ancestors through these traditions that are passed down. We're historical romance readers, so we're already tuned into those ways of thinking. And so I think it's just part of the genre, right?
Hmm.
Is that that holiday nostalgia and historical romance nostalgia for whatever it is, they cohabitate or are very closely connected.
That's so interesting. Are there things that you feel like you can do or get away with in a holiday historical romance that you can't in a non-holiday historical romance?
I think that there's a little wiggle room for magic without being identified as fantasy in holiday romance. So if you write like a Halloween romance and you got a ghost somewhere in there, right? We'll just call it gothic and it's just like a little tag on like a trope list or something, right? Or when I tend to think of Christmas, especially, I think of like magic and especially the magic of childhood. And I feel like there's room for those little miracles, those little like, what if this really is a tiny bit of a magic that has happened and still be able to call it just straight historical romance. There might be readers out there who are terribly like, no fantasy, no miracle, no magic whatsoever, and they will disagree with me on that. But I think there's some wiggle room there.
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely read some Valentine's romances where the text does not necessarily clearly say this was magic, but is playing with the idea of like maybe there's fate bringing these people together on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, exactly.